Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Uncensored Anime Podcast, where we talk about all things anime uncensored. And we are your hosts. I am David. We've got Jerry. We've got Kenny. And we have a pretty chill episode for you all today. We're going to be talking about some of our opinions with what is currently running in the magazine Weekly Shonen Jump, as well as some future predictions of the magazine. Maybe we might go over some news, might go over what we've been watching during the current anime season. Just a fun hodgepodge episode of bullshit. So, Jerry, start us off, big boy.
David always likes to he loves to just out us in his intro, Kenny. He's like, here we go. He was like, welcome to UAP. We are completely unplanned, totally improvised.
No.
We're just throwing the camera on and hoping for the best.
Listen, all I have got to say is that I love Healer Girl, and I can't stop watching it. It's the best show on TV right now, and
So everybody watching, there's Kenny's
wrong.
Kenny's pitch for Healer Girl. So if you guys need to check out something new, I guess. I liked episode 1, but I bailed on it after that. What did you just call it?
It's an idol show that makes you cry. So
Musical, yeah.
Did you just call it musical anime shonen? Is that what you said?
It's very shonen.
I mean, I'm sure that's what it is. That's just crazy that's like a whole new genre. Like, you just created a new, there's going to be a new category.
Not me.
Healer Girl did it.
Shonen Idol show?
Is it a Shonen Idol show? Is that essentially what it is, y'all think?
But basically, they're like doctors, and it's definitely it's like a musical. It's not like, I feel like idol shows are like...
But they're like an idol group, that are the seiyus, and they're like actual singers.
Mm-hmm. But they're like telling a story completely separately from the...
Can idol shows be like... Idol shows aren't just specifically just to have a singing competition, right?
You wouldn't call Alexander Hamilton. You wouldn't call Hamilton.
Yeah, this is more of a musical than an idol show, because idol shows are generally just
telling a story. Yeah.
Idol shows are generally just music presentations. They're not even there is story. No, they do have. I know things like Love Live and even that stupid vampire show we watch technically have storylines, but
what
most.
Are you talking about,
I'm using the word technically because that it's a very loose.
Yeah, definition. You're right. I mean,
it's a very loose definition.
They fly over in their fucking bus or whatever.
It seems like Healer Girl is instead going for a narrative approach, and it's more of a musical, as if
right.
The music's integrated.
The music
into the
actually
story.
progresses. The plot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. I can't think of any musical anime. Because there's obviously a lot. Obviously, there's musical television shows. There's musical movies. There's musical stage productions. The musical concept has been around for a long time. To a degree, Steven Universe is even kind of a musical cartoon. I mean, they don't have a song every episode, but there are frequently songs that progress the story to the point. So there's even that level of it.
Futurama's a musical show. Like that episode where Hermes sing about organizing the
one whenever Bender goes to Robot Hell.
Oh yeah,
with the Beastie Boys.
With the Beastie Boys.
Family Guy's a musical.
There's
TV show actually.
There's actually multiple.
I'm off on the road to Rhode Island.
Those are
actually a great song. Seth MacFarlane's voice is actually.
I think that those are more like musical episodes in more of a sitcom. Which even I think the Flash, the live action CW show, has a musical episode, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think Darren Criss is even in it, if I remember correctly.
Oh
well,
shit!
I mean, come on.
Yeah, but like I said, there's musical. So I just can't think of off the top of my head other musical anime. If someone in the comments knows, let us know.
Yeah, I need to know. Please get in the comments.
It seems to be revolutionary for Kenny because he's really loving it.
Healer Girl is blowing my damn mind. So.
I mean, I love musicals and I love anime. So
why not?
Healer Girl, it's both, and it's actually good.
So now we got to talk about my new favorite chapterly magazine show, and that's Akane Banashi. Okay,
Kenny's running the podcast today.
I love Akane. It's the best. Okay,
welcome to the Kenny Show, guys.
A sports shonen is running in Shonen Jump right now, but it's about Rakugo. So I don't know, but it's a sports shonen for sure, 100%.
Is it your favorite? What's your favorite series in Jump, Kenny?
Right now?
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
One Piece.
Is Akane Banashi in your top 3?
I would say it's my favorite new one.
Okay.
But everything is swinging right now. Like, there's a lot of good stuff running.
Oh, we're getting ahead of ourselves, guys. Kenny dove us like right in the deep end before we can even talk about it. Okay, here's the
Shonen Jump is wild right now. That's what we gotta say.
If this is your first time joining us here on the Uncensored Anime Podcast, thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. If you end up liking the content that we make here, we talk about Shonen Jump super frequently. I would say not every episode, but pretty frequently, as we regularly and have an annual show where we do a current state of Shonen Jump, similar to and inspired by Super Eye Patch Wolf, who actually is kind of the inspiration for this video, which is essentially a follow-up to his video, which came out after our video. So we put out a current state of Shonen Jump about 3 months ago. He put out a current state of Shonen Jump about a month ago. And we've now watched that and kind of have some thoughts going forward about Shonen Jump. So we're calling this the future of Shonen Jump because we felt like it was good to have an actually extended conversation, because even between now and 3 months ago when we made our current state, there's been massive overhaul and updates to the magazine. And there's swings and shifts that we really need to be talking about, mainly because of the prominence of things like Shonen Jump Plus, which we've seen go crazy because of Spy Family, as well as just the shifting market of Shonen magazine, manga in general. And so we're going to get into that today. That's going to be our major talking point. We might discuss a couple other loose leaf stuff. But before I get too far into this episode, I do want to tell everybody that as of this, oh my gosh, actually, when this episode debuts, we will already be at, or it'll be the day of Anime Lubbock in Lubbock, Texas. Here's the deal. So unfortunately, if you don't already have Anime Lubbock tickets, or you don't already have plans to get to Anime Lubbock, you might not be able to get there. But me, David, and Kenny will be appearing at Anime Lubbock on Friday night at 6 p.m. in the main hall, I believe, doing a live version of the Uncensored Anime Podcast. Our plan is to record either all of or portions of that and uploading it as an actual episode of the podcast. So if you're able to join us that night, please come do, because you will most likely be featured on the podcast. We plan to record and have some live conversations with the audience / people that want to participate with us about some of our major topics that we like to cover on the podcast, as well as doing some of our basic stuff, some improvisational sort of comedy between the three of us, as well as some live discussion about popular anime topics and tropes. So it's going to be really fun if you're going to be present at Anime Lubbock. Unfortunately, we did announce it in the last episode at the very end. So yeah, but if you happen to be watching this the morning of, we're Friday of Anime Lubbock, which is Friday, June... Let me check it before I wreck myself. June 10th.
10th to the 12th.
Yeah, 10th to the 12th. So if you plan to be in Lubbock, or if you're in the area and you can get over there as of listening to this, come and join us and say hey. Because most likely when this debuts, we'll either be on our way there or planning to be on our way there, which is awesome. So it'll be our first live show, and we plan to actually do that at more conventions in the future. We just unfortunately only submitted to a couple fandom events for this year. And not to any of the other like big anime events, because we definitely want to try to get ourselves in some of the other anime conventions that happen in the Texas area, maybe even outside of Texas, depending on our availability or our ability to travel. So there you go. Like, comment, subscribe. Come to Anime Lubbock. Be on the lookout for a live episode that will be debuting here on the channel, as well as obviously on all of our other social platforms as well in the future. But now, if you're new here, we have this thing where we talk about Shonen Jump. And we've done it twice now, and we were inspired very much by Super Eye Patch Wolf and other YouTubers' current state of Shonen Jump videos that he does, and we decided to kind of take it upon ourselves back in 2021 to do sort of a video where we had a long-form discussion about the way we felt about every series that was running in Weekly Shonen Jump, and then a couple months ago we did that again for 2022. But today we're kind of having a follow-up to that, because we beat Eye Patch Wolf to the punch this year. We put ours out before he put his out, and now we've actually watched his, which brought up some interesting topics and some things that brought some stuff to my mind. But additionally, 2 more series have already been canned, and 3 new series have actually, well, 2 were canned, 1 was moved out, and 3 new series have debuted since that video 3 months ago. And when we talked about that video 3 months ago, I think 2 series had just started. Yes. When we recorded our last one, Earthchild and Akane Banashi had just begun, and 3 more series, Ayakashi Triangle, Protect Me Shugomaru, and Ayashimon have now all left the magazine, and we've gained 3 new series.
Wait, so Protect Me Shugomaru is the one that officially left?
It is, yes. That was announced. So,
okay.
Yes, so Yeah, a lot. It's crazy
That's
that
like
there's been
that's like just
a 5
And of
series
course-
turnover in 3 months. So
And I think the biggest news out of all of this is that Hiatus X Hiatus is coming back for at least 6 chapters.
no, I think he said 4. He said 4.
4
Oh,
chapters.
Bro, he said 4. Y'all are capping.
I
as
saw
hell.
I think he
I saw
said
10.
four.
I
think
saw
he said
6.
Tagashi
four, but he
said-
wanted to do 6 more.
Tagashi officially said on Twitter that he is ready for 4 more, and he's been posting some progress pictures of him drawing some of the first chapter back, and that's been cool to follow. He gained over 2 million followers within like less than a week, which has been kind of insane because a lot of mangaka don't actually have social medias like that. But he dropped literally like a very cryptic tweet with just like a photo of a side of a page, and then he tweeted again that was like some pictures of some trees he drew. And then One Punch Man's the artist, Yusuke Murata, actually retweeted and was like, yo, I was with Tagashi when he made this. This is legit him. And people were like, oh, shit. So they started following him. And since then, he's been posting like daily updates of him drawing pages. But he's not really posting the pages. He's posting like corners of them showing which page number he's working on. Which it seems like he's only being able to get through like a page a day, which means he's having to draw at a very slow pace, which makes sense with his health. But he noted that he has 4 scripts done or 4 chapters ready that he's working on. So that's exciting. But yes, you're right, Kenny, that that's a pretty big deal as well.
Which
to have
which
Hunter
I just realized collecting those jump volumes are probably going to be a mad grab, mad dash.
Oh
Everyone with a Hunter
If
chapter.
yeah.
I mean, it's been what 4 or 5 years or something
Because they're going to be in the magazine. Yeah. I think it's been.
It's
almost 1,500 days.
Longest ever. But
yeah, this was his longest hiatus yet. But yeah, I mean, also pandemic happened, so whatever. Yeah. Okay, so let me start with the question that's been on my mind since this happened.
Okay.
What the hell happened with Ayashimon?
Japanese audience. They were not.
What happened, guys? What happened?
Here's what happened. The 3 other shonen battle manga, the 4 other shonen battle manga that were currently running whenever Ayashimon was trying to find its feet by just having battles, were popping off. Literally. We're in the final battle in My Hero. Period. We're at the end of a huge arc in One Piece, Wano. Jujutsu Kaisen is having one of its best arcs ever, with some of its most fun fights up to this point. And then Black Clover just had a huge, literally hiatus-inflicting battle. So, like, this other show was, it was tough. Another show was trying to find its footing whenever all of this great shit was already going on in the magazine. Why would I want to read brand new Ayashimon whenever my characters, the ones that I care about, are popping off?
I mean, that might be it. I mean, one thing that
it was kind of like a very rough time for Battle Shonen to join the magazine.
Because it's tough. Yeah.
I mean, it's just weird because like they've been running. I mean, if you really think about it, right? Like the I guess I don't want to use this word. They're kind of the big 4 of the magazine right now, even though Black Clover's barely doesn't do as well rankings or sales wise. But between My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, and Black Clover, the 4 like biggest, most mentionable series currently running in the magazine, comprising almost a fourth of the magazine, are Battle Shonen. So is that just indicative of the fact that there's no space for a new Battle Shonen right now? Like, is that what's going on? Because the magazine used to be almost 50-50 Battle Shonen. It used to be almost, you know what I mean? The magazine pretty consistently has had a lot of Battle Shonen in it. Even when One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto were at the top, you still had a pretty significant amount of other Battle Shonen that had solid runs. So why can one not catch footing right now? Like, is it just because fans are more focused? Is that really it? Or is it just like we don't want anything new? Are other magazines being more competitive in the Battle Shonen department, maybe? I don't know. It's something I've thought about.
I think it's because Shonen Jump doesn't allow enough time. What's important about a really good, interesting Battle Shonen is its power system. And I think Jujutsu Kaisen right now is hitting its like ultimate stride in that sense. And I think My Hero has that. That's what makes a fight interesting in a battle shonen. If it's just literally them whacking each other, it sort of feels like nothing. Like in Ayashimon, are you caught up? Did you read it?
I finished it. I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
The guy's power was just he just can grasp their form. Like that's not anything.
Yeah, he finally got.
It was never fleshed out.
He finally got like a couple chapters developing like what his power was going to be with the old man, like in the very back of what we actually got. But we only got about 3 volumes worth of content, if that. You know, I mean, I don't think many manga battle shonen develop their power system that fast.
No, they don't.
Because the other cool thing is that while Maruo didn't have a power system, the Ayashimon did. They had a pretty clearly developed. I mean, the one main guy whose ability was to jump into the walls or ceilings or whatever it was. The biker guy. It was like every Ayashimon had a unique like ability that was contracted to their like personality. He was the only one lacking that, and I thought they actually developed that pretty well. And Yuji Kaku did a good job, I thought, of giving us the system for the Ayashimon. But was it? I mean, is there just too much of a disconnect because we wanted Maruo to have something? I don't know, honestly.
Well, his it could have been something interesting because his was like, since he was like a human, his like they were going into the concept of, or like his ability being not just like punching their physical form, but like the whole concept of their being.
Right.
And so like punching the fire, like you're punching through the fire, like punch the very concept of fire. And that could have been something interesting if, again, he had more time to kind of flesh that out.
Yeah, I mean,
but it being rushed just made it look dumb.
Why?
Really.
I mean, okay, but like,
but I mean, even still with the interesting powers, how did any of our heroes, when the ceiling guy dropped motorcycles on the other guy, Maruo only fought with his hands. Yeah. We ran away whenever the girl turned into a big fox. Like, nothing interesting happened. Like, nothing's going on.
Maybe that was the issue. Yeah, maybe that was the major issue, is that we had a lot of fights, but not a lot of context for it yet. It definitely felt like Kaku was setting up for a bigger world. But, I mean, 3 volumes is so little, guys. Like,
I agree.
We're at this point in shonen manga, at least battle manga, where it's like if you can't catch the reader like as fast as possible in the first 3 volumes, you're fucked. Like, which is wild to me because, I mean, I think about something like Toriko's first 3 volumes or Siren or...
You can even look at Bleach, Naruto, One Piece.
Even
like
Bleach, Naruto.
Volumes,
I mean, Bleach especially had a real slow startup for what the power system looked like. Naruto was maybe a little faster. One Piece was pretty much gas from the get.
I guess Chakra was for Naruto was introduced kind of early.
You also have multiple devil fruits essentially like right out of the gate in One Piece, which is like a really developed power system. And he makes it through like Alvida, Axan Morgan, Buggy, and maybe even into Kuro in the first 3 volumes. One Piece actually moves pretty fast in the beginning. People kind of forget that.
And I think that that's important. I think that I think that Oda did something that I think all people should, and that his power system existed already, right? Like, it feels like in Ayashimon in particular, it felt like we were discovering Maruo's power, and it was like, I mean, with a defined power system, like, or in Jujutsu Kaisen, there are, spirit mediums or whatever. There are people that
we meet a very well-trained Fushiguro at the very beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen. We meet, ninja are already established in the beginning of Naruto. Shinigami, Rukia is a Shinigami day 1. She's been a Shinigami for who knows how long. They're very world-built, but with Ayashimon, you're right, he almost like stumbled into Maruo having an ability in real time, which feels very delayed comparatively. I like that. That's a good point, Kenny.
It's just tough,
I wonder if it's okay. So that's the one thing. So obviously, Ayashimon did not do well in the rankings, which we've discussed in the current state of Shonen Jump. We noted that it was on a decline. It essentially wrote out its last, 8 or 9, however long ago we did that. It's 12 chapters. Its last 12 chapters rode the bottom pretty much. It was either in last place, second to last place, or third to last place every single week, with more likely than not, it was in second to last, only beating Shugomaru every week, which obviously Shugomaru also got axed. But on the flip side, Ayashimon had a really good not really good. It had a better than average first volume, for a new series, selling close to 20,000 copies, which is pretty impressive. Comparatively, looking at even Dororon and Shugomaru, which both sold less than 5,000 copies of its first volume.
Which, by the way, please cancel Dororon.
No,
I don't know.
Let's not do that.
Here's the deal. We already know from our last discussion, PPPP accidentally survived the round of cuts that it was in, and essentially was riding the bottom, and it accidentally slid by barely being above the bottom. Right, it survived that cut where Naru and Red Hood got cut. Right.
Yep.
And then, as soon as the new stuff started, it was still just barely above the new stuff.
Yeah.
So PPPP has now avoided any sort of danger twice.
Yeah.
Is Dororon the next PPPP? Is that what's about to happen?
I don't know. I do not know.
Is it going to survive this round purely on accident? Even though it's been damn near the bottom, if you go look at the rankings, it's almost been third to last or second to last pretty much every week, frequently only beating Ayashimon and Shugomaru, and occasionally being dead last. It has been dead last a couple times in the last 12 weeks. I think only like once or twice, but it's generally second or third to last, right? So it's still riding the bottom, but now that we know Ayashimon and Shugomaru are 100% canceled, Dororon seems to have, with no leak yet, seems to have survived this round. And is it going to skate into 45 chapters just like PPPP? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's still... Here's the thing about it, though. It is still performing worse than Earthchild and Akane Banashi, which were introduced to replace Naru, and... They were introduced to replace Naru and Red Hood. They're outperforming PPPP for them... Or, no, not Dororon. Okay? So, if that continues, or that trend continues... Will Doron still get a pass? Like, will it still slide by? I don't know. That's another question we'll have to tackle. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is Doron going to slide to 50 chapters? Or, you know?
I don't know.
I don't think it'll be 50. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I think it might last to between 30 and 40. If it continues on the trick that it has been, just like skating around the bottom.
Yeah.
And it also depends on how... two new series that are coming out. One coming out by the time this comes out, it'll already be like chapter 2.
It'll be the weekend of chapter 2 of one of the new series, and it'll be the weekend that the second new series, which we'll talk about both of them in a little bit, will be debuting. Yeah.
So depending on how those, and by the time those are rated, which will be
it takes 7 weeks,
7 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess at that point, I guess Doron can last until 50 then.
Well, here's my other thought, David. With Shugomaru and Ayashimon out, okay? Mm-hmm. That means for the next 7 to 8 weeks, there's no padding between Dororon and the bottom.
Right.
If it is last place 8 weeks straight
consistently, then it will.
I think it's out. I think as soon as those other two series enter the rankings, it's going to get cut. But here's where it has to figure it. So I think the next 2 months are critical for Dororon. I think it's critical because what we do know as of right now is that its first volume sold abysmally, honestly, for a battle shonen. Less than 5,000 in its first 4 weeks, I believe. Ooh. That is abysmal, guys. And I'm talking like things like Elusive Samurais, they sold like 60 to 80K. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we already said Ayashimon sold almost 20K, right? Yeah. And that one already got chopped. It sold 4 times as much. It sold abysmally for a battle shonen. I think the next 8 weeks are Dororon's proving ground. I think that during this time where we're waiting for the 2 new ones, the 3 new ones to enter the ranking, Dororon has to not be last every week. And if it is last every week, I'm going to put all my money in that it's gone in 2 months. That's where, if it's last, because I didn't like Dororon. I dropped it at like chapter 6 or 7. I thought it was pretty fucking weak, honestly. Felt like it was kind of, it's
giving me like Candy Flurry vibes.
A term that
I fucking love Candy Flurry.
There's a term that we've used here on the podcast, right? It is like absolute shonen soup, right? They just tossed in the shonen elements and just kind of stirred that shit up and like put it on the hot pot, in hopes that it'll cook.
The thing with Candy Flurry, like at least for me, I don't think we've seen anything that's combined shonen elements with like the concepts of candy. So I was like, okay, it's like its own unique twist. Cool. But like Dororon, that shit is like the same exact storyline we've seen 20 times before. Like nothing is really unique about it. But the one thing that I think it's been in recent chapters that could help it is that even in the beginning, like Dororon had that element of like, oh, there's someone in this that we're introduced to that's like the Rukia, like someone who's already been through it all, and we can kind of see where I think his name is Doro. I can't remember the main character's name.
Doron.
I read 5 chapters. I think top 6.
I think his name is Doron, but we see like something that he could build up to. And like the past few chapters, we're introduced to a power system where it's like you charge up, and there's like levels that you meet that you can get to as you're charging, and then you just kind of let your power all at once. So it's like, okay, there's like a power system. There could be something more here. So I think depending on how these next few chapters go, and I do agree these next few chapters will either make or break it.
Yeah.
Then, it might get better. And I don't know if volume 2 has been released yet for Dororon.
I think maybe it comes out this month, like in June. I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, because it's at chapter 24 as of this recording. Yeah. So there's enough content for a second volume.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I've been enjoying it so far. It's not my favorite, but it's of the 3, it was my favorite.
Yeah.
And
I'm really curious.
Surviving. So
I'm really curious. So this week will be the first week without Ayashimon in the rankings. And then next week will be the first week without both of them in the rankings. And Super Smartphone and the other 2 series will have not entered the rankings yet. So I'm curious if Dororon takes last the week where all 3 of the new series aren't there, if it takes that last place. I'm curious if the trend will continue or what'll happen.
Shueisha will probably be like, hey, start working on an ending.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be indicative of like, hey, dog, like you took last again, about time to. But if for some reason it scores and has a really great chapter or something,
that's true.
Maybe we'll see a shift in that because it is
it
now
sirens out of
it's
there.
now again the single holding on battle shonen outside of the big guys.
Sakamoto Days is kind of a battle shonen.
You're right. I mean, you are right. It is kind of. It's kind of in the same zone as.
Did it go from like gag to more like battle now?
It was sort of always a bit battle, a bit gag.
Yeah, it's always kind of been in that same zone as like.
But it's been pretty consistently not gag though for a while.
Oh, okay.
Like it's been pretty serious for quite a while.
Okay, but yeah, so that's the clearinghouse that we're in now, guys. What
have any of y'all read Earthchild?
No,
I read like the first 5 or 6 chapters.
I heard the first chapter was like rough, and it's just been rougher since then. But it's actually done okay in the rankings. But it's only been in the rankings.
Really?
It only's had a couple chapters ranked, but it's done okay.
Yeah.
It's not doing great, it's doing okay. But that's mainly because there were 3 series padding the bottom of the rankings. You guys have to remember that. So like Ayashimon, Shugomaru, and Dororon have pretty much been stuck in the bottom 3 every single week for months.
Right.
So like everything else just has to outperform those 3, and then it's doing okay because it almost is in the middle of the magazine ranking. So Earthchild's just doing enough to outperform them. So I'm curious where the shakeup will happen with 2 of them gone. Okay, but yes. So as of our last, so we've talked about Ayashimon being gone. Any thoughts about Shugomaru, which also is exiting the magazine?
That shit was hot fucking garbage.
Not funny, not good.
I couldn't get past the second chapter.
I didn't even read the first chapter. I honestly didn't even try it.
I read the first 2 chapters and I was like, I'm not interested.
Interesting. Kenny, did you try it or no?
Miss Shugomaru?
Yeah.
I read the first one.
And bailed.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't like gags. Like, even the funny ones. Like, I like High School Family, whatever.
Kokosei Kazoku?
Kokosei Kazoku.
Yeah, I like that one, but that one's just so ridiculous. That's why it's funny.
Right.
Like, I just like regular gag shonen or like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Shugomaru seems, I hate to say it, but it seemed destined for failure. It took, in its, X number of chapters that was live, it took last place on average more than Ayashimon. So Ayashimon just happened to also pick up a couple last place and second to last pretty much every week. Shugomaru was in last. So I'm surprised. Yeah, I guess I'm not surprised to see them both gone. But yeah, if there's fans that were fans of Shugomaru, was there anything good about it? I don't know. I didn't try it. I feel like it was just another product of this like gag machine that Shonen Jump's always had, where they kind of pump through a couple gag manga that some stick, some don't, and they just kind of pump them through. If you go look through the history of Shonen Jump, you'll find short-lived gag manga pretty much in every era, because they've always pumped through, ones that'll last like half a year or whatever, fairly quickly, with a lot of them getting a lot of grace sometimes. If there's one that people are kind of like leaning towards, it'll get a lot of grace. A great example right now is Kenny's favorite, Kokuze Kazoku, which does not sell well, doesn't perform great in the magazine, but has done just well enough that like obviously Shonen Jump has a soft spot for it. I kind of wondered if Hard-Boiled Cop and Dolphin was going to go that route, but then they chopped it at chapter 50, which really surprised me. Cool. So there's Shugomaru, there's Ayashimon, they're gonzo, they're dunzo. Yeah. And we've talked about Dororon. Let's switch focus.
Talked about what's popular right now in the
right. Let's talk about Akane Banashi, because Kenny
brought two new ones.
Well, we talked about Earthchild a little bit, which Earthchild started also when we did our current state.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Akane Banashi, the other one that started, because while Earthchild has just performed barely above last place, Akane Banashi is a whole nother beast. It's now placed, I think, in the top 3 of the rankings more than once in its first like 15 chapters, which is kind of crazy, kind of bonkers. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if there's really a great precedence for such a great
non-battle,
a great early performance.
Well, like I said, I do feel like it is truly a sports shonen, even though like
it is. Yeah. There's no way around it, right, Kenny? I mean, every sports trope is there already. There's like an older troop of people. They're training her. They have to go to like events where they're doing these. Yeah, I mean, there seems now she's already entering like a tournament as of the latest arc. It is. Right. It's got pretty much the structure of a sports shonen with a different layer of paint. So I don't know. Maybe, and I do think right now the audience for sports shonen, obviously, Weekly Shonen Jump has been. No sports shonen.
Lacking.
Haikyuu ended, and it's just not really had one I mean, Nine Dragons Ball Parade was really it.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, no other one is there. I mean, Blue Box is kind of a...
No, I think I've understood that it's gone. It's full it's more on that.
It's romance, yeah.
It's romance with a sports element, but I don't think that, But... yeah, Akane Banashi does feel that way. And here's the crazy thing. So already in its first, how many chapters are there right now, David? Like 14, 13?
15 came out from volume 26, I think, of Jump.
Okay, so
15.
Here's some interesting details about it already. Ichiro Oda himself, the author of One Piece, has given it like a shining endorsement. And it's like on the volume 1 that's about to release in Japan or just released in Japan, it is all over it, saying like, recommended by Ichiro Oda. Okay.
Oh really?
We will know. Damn. We will know in the next month how its volume 1 sales are. I expect them to be quite good with that sort of push for it. The second thing they've already done, Kappe Yamaguchi, I believe is his name. He's the voice that does, I believe, Usopp, but he's also a very respected Japanese seiyuu. He's doing like a audio recorded version of chapter 1 where he's playing her dad, Kenny, the dad. And that's crazy, but his real-life daughter is going to voice Akane in, like, the thing. So Kappe Yamaguchi's real-life daughter is going to voice... It's like a Vomit or, like, you know what I mean? Like a motion comic sort of thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
As, like, a promotion for Volume 1. Which, that's crazy. You don't get 2 massive seiyus involved.
That's huge push.
And the thing about Akane Banashi is also that, I believe, other than some one-shots and some minor stuff, this is, like, the author's first thing. But
it's
Jump,
2 people.
Or 2 people, it's the author's 2 thing. First little, again, I think that they've had some little stuff, but nothing massive like this. It feels like the magazine it feels like Shueisha already knows this is going to be huge. Which it's really early for them to say that about a series, but they've already had it rank in the top 3 more than once, I think, in its first 15 chapters. They have made it very quickly to a tournament arc, which is important for these types of series. So in less than 2 volumes, we've progressed. We've given the characters a lot of moments to shine. There's already some really great side characters and upperclassmen mentors. We're really cleaning up quick, which is important. We already know this about Shonen, and because of that, the rankings are reflecting that. I think once we see the sales of Volume 1, if they're astronomical, or like at least in the same zone as like some of the other stuff like Witch Watch and like in that 30 to 60K copies that go out, I think that we could have the inklings of the starts of a massive hit on our hands. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again, though, guys.
What's your guess, Jerry? What's your guess, though? What's your guess for Volume 1 sales?
If I had a guess, I think it's gonna be around 30K, but that's my guess, 30 to 60. That's my.
I'll raise you 40K.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do it. Okay, I think that's.
I'm gonna say
that's my general guess. What do you think? Again?
It's gonna have a breakout sales, 150,000 copies, volume sold.
150.
That would be Kenny. If it sold 150K, I think that Jump would shit their pants. I think they would. I think that whoever the editor of, I think he would genuinely like be in his office, and you would just see him start piling up a pile of shit underneath. Like it'd just be insane the amount of dookie that would be in his pants, dude.
Oh man,
he'd shit his pants, and I'm sure that the authors and all them they would be
like,
yeah, they would be.
Bro,
out.
we gotta get a soundboard, okay?
Like a for the pile, that'd be funny, dude. Boop, boop, boop.
Dookie in his pants.
But here's the deal. So, Akane Banashi, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth again. I've really enjoyed the series. I've been reading it weekly since chapter 1. Kenny and I we read chapter 1. Oh, David,
Jerry's a big dick writer. Okay, he was like, Oda's on this. Now I'm into this one now. Oda said so. Oh man,
you done? You got it out, Ken? You got it all out?
I'm just saying.
I have been reading it since chapter 1.
Same time, you know. I'm just Jerry. I read manga.
I really like the premise on chapter 1. I read every chapter as it came out, as on the Jump app, obviously, here in the US. We've all kind of kept up with it. Chapter 1 is a phenomenal chapter, by the way, for those of you that have not read it. Maybe one of the best first chapters of a Jump manga I've read in a long time.
Yeah.
We all kind of agreed it was like a very rock star first chapter.
Yeah, it was really well done because I felt so connected to a character that has not been in the manga since. Like,
and I can't wait for his return because you know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
they have set it up so well when Akane's dad gets to come back. Even if it takes 100+ chapters to get there, the next time we see Akane's dad do Rakugo, we as fans are going to...
It's going to be in the manga because, like, back pocket. Like, if they're, like, having, like, a rough time, they're like, okay, it's time to pull out the dad card.
Let's do it. Yeah. That will be a huge moment. And the worst part is, I think at first, chapter 2 and 3-ish, I was kind of worried that I would be like, damn it, like, we lost the dad. Like, you know, what is Akane really... But honestly, by, like, chapter 4 or 5... I realized I didn't need him anymore. You know, Akane is an
amazing character.
Such a great character. And we immediately have met characters I'm already like falling in love with.
Yeah, I love all the boys.
There's honestly such a great group of characters she's already introduced. Or she. I don't know the author's gender. They have already introduced.
Yeah, they. Yeah.
And I'm loving it. And I mean every chapter just gets better and better. And even like I thought at first that like reading a Rakugo performance would be boring, but the way that the artist does the paneling and the dialoguing throughout
the expressions
are such awesome. It's actually really great to read.
Also, I have no knowledge of Rakugo, so it's like,
did y'all go
everything's new to me.
I went and like YouTube searched a bunch of Rakugo performances, like watched a bunch of
Have
you guys watched
really?
It?
No,
it's
I
honestly
Japanese.
It's like Kenny, there's subtitle. What the fuck?
What?
There's also there's a really popular like white guy that actually does like English Rakugo performances.
Oh, white guy Rakugo?
He's on YouTube. He's got like a pretty good following. But sorry,
if I Google white guy Rakugo, will I see it?
Honestly, you might. I don't know what his name. I can't remember his name, but he wears like a red.
Katsura Sunshine.
Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I found him.
Yeah, I guess if you search just white guy Rakugo, he'll come up.
Wow.
But beside the point, he's got a pretty good following or whatever. But if you want to watch Rakugo, you should. I thought it was really cool, honestly. Once I started watching some videos of it, I was like, wow. And it just made me realize that if this series makes it and it eventually gets animated, it's going to be so much fun to watch an anime.
Oh, yeah, the animated one?
Oh, yeah. This is one of those shows that would shine animated with voice acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
with the right performances and if they get the right people involved. That's why I'm so interested in what the like audio vomic version or whatever they're calling it with copy. Like, I'm curious what that's going to sound like, because they're going to have to do and mimic the Rakugo performances over the audio, which I think will be really interesting to listen to as well. So if you're not into this series yet, I know that it's a little early, and I know, yes, there's still a chance it could get canceled, but I'll tell you right now, it's already had 10 chapters, and it's like never gone below the halfway point in the rankings. I don't think this series is out the door in any way, shape, or form. No. Ayashimon was already struggling by this point, and so was Shugomaru. This series is not. It's hit the top 3 already a couple times. I think that we've got a much bigger hit on our hands with Akane Banashi.
Yeah. This would have to shit the bed for it to get axed.
And I'm under the impression that there's actually another anime and manga that's very popular that's also about Rakugo. I believe it's called Descending Stories. It was a pretty popular, I think, a Josei manga that's also about Rakugo. Okay. I'm sure there are probably other series out there about Rakugo, but that's the one that I think that I found that people like know about and is actually pretty popular. So if you've watched that or read it and you want a new Rakugo series, obviously, ta-da, go read Akane Banashi. But also, if you're a fan of sports manga and shonen sports manga, ta-da, you need to go read Akane Banashi if you haven't already. And honestly, if you're just a fan of like great characters and like total just dope stuff, and you want to learn something about a culture that's maybe different than your own, go read Akane Banashi. It's been such a joy to read every week, and it's my first thing that I read every time I open up the app on Sunday.
Well, I mean, awesome. I leave the best for last. So the first thing would be the worst thing that I was reading.
Well, I do it the other way. I read the one that I'm most excited about first. And then
what?
I just read what the app tells me to read.
But I'm not gonna lie, Kenny. I was only reading, as of right now, I was only reading Akane Banashi, Ayashimon, and One Piece. So I would open the app, I would read Akane Banashi, and then I would read One Piece, and then I would read Ayashimon.
I don't know that feeling. I literally open all of them in different tabs.
Oh my god!
And then I organize them, and then I just X them.
You're such a wild man. Great. So that's the other kind of newbie.
It's like I'm reading the magazine, bro.
Oh my god. So the only other series that's maybe of note that we should at least talk about briefly is ppppp.
Wait. Are we not going to talk about Super Smartphone?
We'll get to it. I want to get to the new stuff, the 3 brand new ones.
I hope you know I did not even read that one.
I want to talk. Well, we'll get to it.
I've been reading it.
We'll get to it. So let's talk about ppppp also, because it's another one that's kind of in contention in the rankings, right? So it started low. It survived the first cut, coming in late, and then sliding by as Neru and Red Hood got canceled, right? And then it escaped more because Doron, Dororon, Ayashimon, and Shugomaru did so poorly. PvP again slid in that middle spot and has now survived another round of cuts. It's coming up on 50 chapters almost, right? Or like 40 chapters? Something like that.
Just chapter 34 just came out.
Oh, 34.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's only
it's only mid-30s.
Mid-30s. I think that it's another one just like Doron Dororon. It's got to start overperforming a little bit if it wants to survive the next round, simply because I just don't think Akane Banashi is going to... I think Akane Banashi is already going to be above Doron and ppppp from this point forward, unless something drastic happens with Akane Banashi's rankings. Sure, I think that means that now ppppp is now going to get pushed down closer to the bottom, which is not a good look for the series moving forward. But if it outperforms Doron Dororon and keeps that steady, it might survive another round of cuts, which would be bonkers, but I expect us to see maybe another round in around 2 months.
And then at that point, I don't know if it could. I don't.
Yeah, it'll start getting
long story. Yeah.
It'll start getting way more grace, and they might actually be able to go for until he feels like finish. Or you know what I mean? Like once it makes it over this next hump of cuts into that. I will say we have to remember Hard Boiled Cotton Dolphin got canceled at 50 chapter mark, which was really weird. But generally, if a series makes it to about a year of publication, which is right around that 50-ish chapter mark, it usually gets a little bit more grace going forward. It gets a little bit more room to fail and can kind of get a little bit more space to do what it wants to do or whatever, you know. So that we've known that historically. Do you guys like ppppp? Do you guys think it has space in the manga or in the magazine?
I've been reading it week to week. I've been enjoying it. It's kind of taken its time introducing us to each of Lucky's siblings. And I think we've only been introduced like officially to 3 of them, and there's 3 other ones. So
no, I think we've been introduced to 4 of them.
4 of them?
Yeah.
David probably.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
David slept through that chapter. Can he?
No. I don't sleep. But 4, I think, the 4th one we just were recently introduced to, right?
Yeah, last couple of chapters.
Yeah. Okay, so 4 of the
only
6.
34 chapters.
He slept.
Yeah.
Kenny, he in his sleep, dude. Just
No, there's no way.
I'm joking.
No, I don't. No, but yeah. So
I do think we're going to be meeting more of them soon. I do think we're just about
This is like one of those series. I don't know much about it, but I think that it's one of those series where you're going to need to know. Like all of them are probably just like the Hashira and Demon Slayer or something. Like we're gonna get to know all of them probably at some point.
I think that this series will be at its best whenever all of them are on screen. So.
Right. Probably. It reminds me of remember Toriko, how they had the cast of
the 4 different
and it slowly introduced each of them through like mini arcs. And then
finally they all went on an adventure together.
Exactly. Yep. And then it was like from that point forward they were all together. I mean that's probably the direction the author's headed. Even Black Clover kind of does that, right? With the Black Bulls in the beginning.
Somewhat. I mean slowly even later, even up to this point, we're still like, oh, there's another guy. He was on our squad the whole time. He's a Black Bull too.
Okay, well. I'm just saying a lot of successful shonen have used that storytelling framing of like slowly introducing so it sounds like the PPPP author is using it and using it well because the people who are reading it are actually that I've heard are enjoying it mostly. I mean, the problem is not a lot of people are probably reading it, but I think people that are reading it are into it.
Us people that like PPPPP, we call ourselves peers. We're big PPPer stands, so we're peers.
Kenny's a big peer.
There are 6 P's. Either say PPPPP or just say P6.
How about PPPPPPPPPPPP?
No, I'm a peer.
Kenny's a peer. He's a peer.
A peer.
Big P. He's Pierre Escargot.
I do think Pierre has such a great art style. Like this manga is exceptional in the fact that it's drawn so extravagantly.
It has the most unique art style in the magazine.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, can we talk about what iPatch...
Kaizoku does have a...
iPatch had a really interesting critique of it that I actually want to touch on. He directly criticized the paneling in PPPPP, which I thought was an interesting critique of the series. I don't know about you guys. Obviously, David told me he didn't notice that there was any issue with it. But
I didn't notice it, no.
I mean, it just comes down... One thing that people don't know about manga maybe is that it's all about flow and reading flow and how a reader moves through the page. That's kind of how we imagine the action or the flow of it. And I guess iPatch's criticism was that it was a little tough to follow at some points the way that the action moved, which is a weird circumstance for a series that doesn't. I mean, it's about music. It's not really about fights.
It's already so abstract, but I mean. I think that you can make a manga that flows abstractly. I mean, look at Chainsaw Man. But yeah, I did notice it too, but I never was fully taken out of it whenever I was reading it.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't stop me from reading, or I didn't have to do double takes to understand what to order to read the bubbles.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't like there was a bubble on this page and a bubble on the other page that were connected to each other.
Yeah, I can see people struggling with it, but I didn't have any issues with it.
Right. Okay, so to me, this is the other. It's in the same zone as Dororon moving forward. When we talk about the future of Jump, those two series are probably the closest to cancellation of anything else in the magazine. If I had to guess, I think Dororon and PPPPP are the closest to cancellation, aside from potentially the new stuff like Earthchild or the new smartphone, all the brand new stuff.
Right.
They're the closest to potentially leaving the magazine of any other series in the magazine right now. Because one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but Ayakashi Triangle, I think I briefly mentioned it got moved out of the magazine kind of randomly and was replaced by this series that I want to talk about now. So Ayakashi Triangle... it seems like Kentaro Yabuki was just I want to go more.
I want to be more
whatever.
Horny.
So they moved him to Shonen Jump Plus, and he's getting an anime later this year anyway for Ayakashi. It seems to have its fan base. Yabuki knows what he's doing. That series will be fine over there and probably do better in the digital format and whatever. It's actually getting printed.
More boobies. Maybe?
It's getting printed here in the U.S. actually by 7 Seas. So Viz sold the title out to a series that has a little bit more of that. That
audience.
Sort of branding, beside the point. But it was quickly replaced by Super Smartphone, which has already got, I think, 3 chapters out.
4 chapters.
I ignored the hell out of this because it looks goofy as hell. The artwork looks stupid. I read the brief plot synopsis, and it sounded absolutely heinous. It sounded stupid. David, you are the only one who's read.
David, tell us about your favorite new
David,
manga.
you've only read it. You're the only one who's read it. I personally have zero interest in this series. It looks stupid to me.
So let me tell you about. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, catch us up.
So Super Smartphone is about this guy he's just a normal student. He's smart, but he's I can't remember his like quirk, if he's like not really nice to people, or he doesn't like see the reason to try to succeed in school, but he's a smart person. And one day he gets a smartphone. It's called, I think the thing is like a play on words of Google. It's like Oogle or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
And and this phone has like this AI in it where you can search anything and everything, but there's like certain rules to it. And this guy's like, okay, so this phone can I can learn anything from this phone. And like this guy's brother, when he was younger, died in this tragic accident. So at this point in the story, like his goal is to try to figure out more about his brother's death and figure out the reason behind it, what caused it, blah, blah, blah. And in the 4 chapters so far, he's used this phone to basically solve cases. And it's kind of gave me Death Note vibes in the way of like L using the Death Note to kill people that he felt deserved to die. So like murders, people committing crimes.
L's a murderer.
Except, or not L.
Light. You meant Light.
Light.
Yeah,
I meant Light.
Oh, I thought you meant like this.
They both start with L. Okay, so no, Light. I meant Light. Yeah, but
I'm joking.
Yeah, and like as he uses his phone, he gains points, and as he gains points, it unlocks like certain features of the phone.
Oh, right.
And then in the most recent chapter, we just realized that there are other people with their own smartphones. So, and they could be good or bad. So
this almost sounds like Future Diary.
Yeah.
A
little bit,
but Nikki, but less dark and less.
Yeah,
it's
like,
not a
it's
battle.
not a
It's not a death game. Yeah.
It's like mystery. It's like a crime fighting mystery shonen.
Did you guys know that the authors of Death Note, they originally had L's name as something else? It was Yuki Cross, and initially he was attending this academy called the Cross Academy.
Okay, I just server muted Kenny. Yeah. I just server muted him.
Fuck that guy, dude. Fuck that guy.
This is the Vampire Night Podcast, everybody. Please welcome, as always, welcome to the Vampire Night Podcast.
You never know when Yuki Cross might pop up in any of our conversations. That's what you got to be prepared. For all of you out there, you got to know that Vampire Night's our favorite show. It's everything that we live for in this world. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's the best. It's an eternal show. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, when you are, you'll always love Vampire Night. And remember, if we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we plan to do a full live watch through of every episode of Vampire Night. So if you guys want to watch us suffer, then get us to 1,000 subscribers. The faster we get there, we're almost halfway there. So we're making some massive progress, which is great.
So Super Smartphone is like, it's probably not going to last long.
Fuck, David said, wow, okay, that's a bold prediction, though.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Here's the thing about smartphone.
My prediction is that I don't think it will last long.
We have to know that smartphone is going to be the padding, potentially, that Doron, Dororon, and ppppp need. Because it's going to enter the rankings a couple weeks before the other 2 new series. Which means that if it comes in and is just dead fucking last, just absolutely abhorrent, it might actually help Doron, Dororon, and ppppp continue, you know, because if they can use smartphone to slide over a little further, they might be able to last long enough for the 2 new series to jump into the rankings, and then they might actually outlast. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of variables.
Smartphones like Pro is that I think is the only like pure like mystery series in the magazine.
That is true.
Yeah.
So it has that. It has that kind of.
ITEL C got cut, and so was
Yeah, ITEL C was kind of weird, but
I mean,
was Bone Collection? No, that was just.
I'd say the last one before ITEL C was probably Promised Neverland. That was kind of in that zone.
Yeah.
Of that mystery shonen, but it was kind of mystery fantasy.
It was like a dark dark mystery.
But it still had a pretty heavy like influence on that genre, and then obviously before that you had stuff like Death Note. But I'd say that's definitely not an area that's always covered in the magazine. So if it can make a big enough
it's niche.
Yeah. It has to definitely make a big splash in that area and be able to go, okay, hey, look at me. And then people might kind of put their eyes on it. But I'll say as of right now, the initial reception when people saw the artwork was negative. In English-speaking communities, I don't know how Japanese people are taking it, but in English-speaking communities, they saw the artwork and people immediately bailed. People read the description that the U.S. Shonen Jump put out, and people said it sounded hokey and crappy. So that's not going to bode well for it, because if people aren't reading it on the app either, in English-speaking countries, that really does a negative to us. See, because I think that just like Red Hood is getting a physical print in the U.S., I think Ayashimon's going to also get physically printed. Only because I think that English-speaking audiences were really into those two series. And I think we were reading those two a lot heavier than Japan was. So I'm curious where that's going to go. But smartphone is the padding potentially. So speaking of future, if one other series were to get canceled before Doron, Dororon, and ppppp, smartphone is the prime candidate to get canceled before them. So before we jump into the two that are coming out, I want to talk about the future for the now. So now we've kind of talked about the bottom of this. Well, there's a couple more series that we need to talk about that have they're the part of the future of this magazine, right? There's two that I'm going to group together that we need to just briefly chat about. We've kind of talked about this before. Undead Unluck and Mashal.
Yep.
They are both now over their 100 chapter mark. Both of them mysteriously no anime adaptation yet. No announcement. Nothing. Both of them conspicuously have noted or kind of vaguely noted that they might be entering their final arc, something like that. Rankings wise, they're in the bottom 5. Average, they're both in the bottom 5 of their rankings. Sales wise, for their volumes, they've stagnated. They pretty much hit a line and they've just kind of sold the same amount every volume. Are they just done? Like, I don't know. Are those two series going to get anime? Like, are they going to be this generation Sirens? You know what I mean? Like, they're going to get like 15, 16 volumes and just disappear forever.
I think they deserve anime adaptations. Yeah. I think they would be better. I think anime for those two specifically would benefit. I think that medium is better for both of them. They're just super action-y. And I think the action would come across much better animated. They're both absolutely in their like confirmed in their final arcs. And so I think Undead is closer to finishing than Mashal. But I definitely would not be surprised if they both were concluded this year.
Oh, David's putting a time like 6 months from now they're going to be done.
Yeah, like I think
that means you think they have less than about 3 volumes left for both series.
Yes,
about 30 chapters.
I think so. 6 months is about like 28-ish chapters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's enough content for them to wrap up completely.
Wow,
like enough time for them to wrap up. So my bet is that they're both going to be finished before the next.
That's
year's
so
magazine.
Quick though that if that happens, if either of those two leave the magazine before the end of the year, it again opens up a very critical space, because Undead and Mashal have kind of filled this like middle ground battle shonen thing going on. You know what I mean? They were never the worst, but they never cracked the top. They kind of fill in the same space that Black Clover is in this like middle ranking battle shonen. I will say the problem with Mashal and Undead is they've now floated towards the bottom. As of 2022, they have actually 2021 they had good years. 2022 they floated toward the bottom. And I don't think that has been good for either of them. And the fact that both authors have now hinted vaguely like, oh, we're in our last arc.
Bro, you sounded like Tommy Pickles.
What?
Did you hear that?
What'd I do?
Whatever you said bottom, you just sounded like Tommy, bro. I don't know. You gotta listen back, okay? I'm marking it right now.
Sheesh! Someone go check it.
You sounded like that. Jerry sounded like Tommy Pickles.
You guys know what I'm talking about, though, about those. When you vaguely mention that, it feels like what happened to series like Demon Slayer, where they were essentially ushered into a final arc. But here's the weird thing about that, is that with a lot of this stuff, generally if something makes it over 100 chapters, I'll say it right now, almost every Jump manga that makes it over 100 generally gets a small anime adaptation. Maybe it's only one season or whatever, but most Jump manga that make it, because they use that anime adaptation to try to boost the manga sales, even if it's if it's in game. And you saw with Demon Slayer, this magic happened, obviously. No, I don't think anything will ever replicate Demon Slayer, where it felt as if it was being pushed out. The anime dropped. It was the most popular thing in the entire world for a while. And then they were like, no, keep going. They couldn't really save it, and they had to still barrel towards a conclusion, and it ended up wrapping up. And now there's kind of this. The manga itself is really not. It's a completed product, but it's definitely like, could they have gone for 10 more volumes? Maybe. But it was already in this like fast barrel towards a conclusion that was caused sort of by pressure from Shueisha. So we're in this weird spot. Undead Unluck and Mashal, they've now made it past this barrier, but no signs of anime adaptations for either of them. Again, the only recent one that I can think of that is sort of in that zone was Siren. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Can anyone think of another one that broke 100 but didn't get an anime and just kind of waddled its way out of the magazine? I can't think of any off the top of my head. Is the problem?
I can't either. I'd have to like look it up.
Yeah, generally,
I mean, even Busou Rankin only had like Busou Rankin had 79 chapters and it
still got anime. No, yeah,
and it was like not that good.
The only other one that comes to mind is Siren, which was in the last 10-15 years. Siren was like 16 volumes, well over 100 chapters, but it barreled to this really shitty conclusion, and then there was like zero fanfare for it, and it just faded away. It just disappeared. But very rarely does something make it to 100 chapters and Jump and not have a pretty good following. And it seems like Undead and Mashal have accidentally made it there. But
Jump is so apt to just cut people. That's why I think if you make it to 100 in Shonen Jump, it's truly like
it's a bit. Generally, that means you have a big fan base. But somehow Undead Unluck and Mashal have both like accidentally made it to 100 kind of thing. You know what I mean? They've just sort of like limped their way to 100. And that's not bad because their first year or so, they were actually very popular initially, but it's really just the last probably like 6 months, so the last maybe 30 or so chapters, where both series have seen a massive drop off in interest. And it doesn't mean that they're not popular still. They're selling probably well in the U.S. The volumes are coming out regularly in the U.S. physically. It obviously is coming out on the app and still coming out in Japan. The sales of the volumes in Japan are still doing okay. It's just that the ranking and the general interest in those two series, for some reason, have waned. If they both get canceled, that will certainly mark a weird sign for the middle ground of Shonen Jump. It means that series could make it to 100 still and still really not be given a fair shake. You know what I mean? It means that Jump is willing to just like bamboozle people at 150 chapters and be like, all right, fuck off, you know? If the popularity
kind of shitty.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Any other thoughts about those two series? Because I don't know about those. I hope they both get anime announcements by the end of the year. That's my hope.
My assumption is that they will be done by the end of this year, and that'll put them at roughly like 120-ish chapters, and then it might get one and done in an anime adaptation.
Get a big like a season that just kind of does either
just like a complete
super fast pace or.
Yeah,
something,
maybe like
give it its own ending or something.
They could definitely wrap up. I feel in like, well, no, that'd be way too fast. But maybe like 52 episodes, or 52 episodes for each.
Oh,
maybe that might be too much. Maybe
if both of them end up being under 150 chapters, they could both easily get 26 episodes, like 2 core seasons, and be done and gone. You know what I mean? They could both get essentially platinum end. It is what I would call it. You know. Just get a 26 episode season, adapt the whole story at a super fast pace, and let it be done. I could see that for both those series. If they wrap up at 150, if they make it over that mark, we'll have another conversation about this. But I based off David's assumption, based off the way the rankings have gone,
it's my guess.
Based on the fact they both don't have anime announcements, they both made it over 100 chapters. But again, this is the sort of shit where like we could record this tonight. Tomorrow we could wake up and it could be like Undead Unluck anime announcement. You know what I mean? Like that's how fucking fast paced this shit is. Like I don't know, but let's move on from those two series. I think, unless you guys have comments, any other about those?
No, that's it. I'm good to. I didn't even want to talk about those two series.
But. Flap them away. I don't even want to talk about the top 4. Those 4 are their own thing. They're gonna go as long as they want. They'll end when they feel like it. Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, One Piece, and Black Clover. I don't think that even though Black Clover still does pretty shit in the rankings and does not sell a lot of copies, it's going to go it'll end when it feels like it. Shueisha's not going to push those out of the magazine. Those 4 will be in the magazine until they want to leave. Which is why we talked about it a little bit, but Dr. Stone definitely wanted to leave. It seems like Boichi was especially ready to walk away from that series it does not seem like there was pressure from Shueisha, which is very strange. But I guess I'm happy that they give the artist the ability to do that. The artist not, because that series is going to continue to be popular with the rest of its anime adaptations still coming. But so let's talk about what I consider the true future of Shonen Jump right now. There are 4 series that are kind of in this zone that are what I would say are the genuine future of this magazine. And that is Witch Watch, it's Witch Watch, Sakamoto Days, Elusive Samurai, and
Blue Box.
Blue Box. Thank you, David. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Those 4 series, they're all under 100 chapters. That, guys, right there, those 4 series, I'm calling it right now, that's the future of Weekly Shonen Jump.
Wow.
I think
one of those are going to get canceled tomorrow.
No way.
Now that you've said it out loud,
okay, I could see one of those.
Maybe Witch Watch.
I could see one of them concluding.
Or Samurai.
I could see them concluding, but I think they're going to conclude mostly on their own terms at this point. They both seem to have done quite well with the rankings. They both seem to do quite well in volume sales. With great first volumes from all of them. They've all got a good English-speaking audience. The only one that is not getting printed in English is Witch Watch, which I think that's majorly because I think that's probably Viz deciding hey, we're not going to print that. We're not getting a lot of clicks on it. I just don't think it's picking up steam here, but in Japan, it's selling quite well in physical prints. So that's a good thing to note as well about Witch Watch. And the interesting thing about those 4 series is that 2 of the 4 of those are very established mangaka. Yusei Matsui and Kenta Shimanara, Witch Watch author. They're both super established. Both of them have had not 1, but 2 Shonen Jump manga that have run to their conclusions prior to. With Yusei Matsui having Majin Tantei no Minuro and Assassination Classroom that both had really solid runs. And then Kenta had Sket Dance, which was an enormously long series, by the way, guys. It was never released in English physically. I don't even think there's a digital translation of Sket Dance. There might be. It might have been digitally translated. That thing ran for 300 plus chapters. It was a long ass series and a big deal in the 2000s. And it had a long running anime adaptation. People just don't know that. But then Sket Dance was immediately followed by Astro Lost in Space, which got to run through to its official. That series got to run its whole course. It's a completed story and got a full anime adaptation that adapted the whole thing. Both of them are super established mangaka. And I think that that's easy to put to rest on, right? With Elusive Samurai and Witch Watch, I think Shonen Jump knows what they're doing. Those 2 have already hit a really good chord with the Japanese audience. They're strong contenders for the future of Shonen Jump, right? Sakamoto and Blue Box, that's different though. They're kind of newbies, and I mean, yes, newbies kind of run Jump right now to me, like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man. Those are essentially newbies, although they had 1 or 2 publications before, kind of externally. But and also to note, Astro Lost in Space didn't run in Weekly Shonen Jump; it ran in Jump Plus. But that's not that important to remember. But I don't want anyone correcting me in the comments, which they might. But those 2 series, Sakamoto, Blue Box, those are kind of unexpected hits. That's what I would call those 2.
Blue Box is so fucking good.
Yeah,
I just want to put that out there. Japanese audience thinks so. I think.
Did Blue Box come?
Kenny thinks so.
Guys, did Blue Box come? Did it come at just the right time?
Yeah, there were no romances.
It filled Weekly Shonen Jump's romance gap, right at the perfect time. Because not only
even if there was another romance, I think it would still perform well.
Well,
it's
I agree.
Good.
I agree.
This is good.
But imagine if something like Blue Box had come out while Nisekoi was in its 150th chapter, or while Yuna was still running. Or
we never learn.
If these series had still been in the magazine, would Blue Box have had the space to have succeeded as much as it did? I don't know.
Probably not.
It also came in a moment where it had a sports tint to the romance at a time when there was no Haikyuu in the magazine. There was no.
That's it. Goodbye. See you later, Jerry.
Can you guys hear me?
Connected.
You're pogging a little hard in your.
You guys hear me?
You're too pog.
Yeah.
You're a big pog champ, bro.
I'll leave that in. I'll leave that in. I'll leave that in.
No. We'll cut that. We'll cut that out. Cut that. Cut that.
It would just be you talking.
I never lost you guys, so that's good. Okay, so no, I heard you guys say all that still was coming through to me. I heard you guys talking about me. So all that was filmed, by the way, which is great. We're gonna leave that in. But yes, Blue Box came out when there was a need. There was no sports manga and there was no romance manga. And am I gone again?
We'll cut that. We'll cut that.
No, you're not gone.
You guys heard it that time. Okay, great. Is Blue Box that happy accident for that series? Is that what it's going to be? Is it going to be a nice long-running romance series that kind of fills in that space that was kind of a happy accident? I've heard it's really good still, despite that. Obviously, if it's really good, it's really good. But, I mean, is it and Sakamoto Days, are they happy accidents that just happened at the right space, right time for those two manga?
Well, Sakamoto Days in terms of like genre, I mean, it's like not unique at all. It's just just a comedy. I don't read Sakamoto Days, so which is a big mistake. But I know it's like a gag battle, right?
Yeah,
it's like similar in genre to like Hitman Reborn.
Yeah, reminds me of Gintama almost.
I don't know. It's become so serious lately. So,
well, Gintama had very serious arcs.
Yeah,
Gintama had serious arcs for sure.
I mean, Reborn went serious.
It also has this whole like, it also is riding on the whole like massive success of House Husband worldwide. Kind of came out at the same time where there was a similar idea of like an older retired Yakuza person. Lots of other, I mean, there was an isekai we watched that kind of had that tint. There's literally like a ton of stuff that was in that. I don't want to call it a genre, just a very specific type
of an assassin craze.
There was like a craze for that, which is so weird, dude. Like, they're so weird.
I mean, you're though.
But I don't know. Are those the two happy accents? Those are going to be. I'm not going to say gonna be at this point. I think those have already proved that they're both. All four of those manga are they know what they're doing, and to me they are. When we talk about the future Jump, when I talk about a year from now or 2 years from now, I can imagine all four of those still being in the magazine.
Sure.
I think they don't. None of them have really reached any sort of like conclusion. They could go however long they need to go, and I think if the authors so chose, I think 2-3 years from now, I don't have any hesitation that they could all four still be there, which is really cool to think about. Because it might mean that. I mean, I just had this vision in my mind like 2 years from now, Mappa announces that they're doing a Sakamoto Days anime or something, and it has the same boom in sales that like JJK experienced, or you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of series that I think could accidentally do that. It doesn't have to be a pure shonen. It doesn't have to be a JJK. So that's the type. Just like, okay. But what do you guys? Any other thoughts on those four before we? I mean, they're the future to me, and I think that's what's most important about this episode is to remember. Like, I see those four as very critical series for the magazine right now because people don't talk about it enough. But in those eras when the big series leave, like we just lost Dr. Stone. We potentially could lose JJK and My Hero and maybe even Black Clover in the next year or two. In the eras when those series are exiting the magazine, there's always this panic as if we'll never find the next big thing. But we forget about the series that were working in the interim, right? Series like Rurouni Kenshin that were the gap between Dragon Ball Z and One Piece, right? They like ran as Dragon Ball Z ended and like as One Piece started. Kenshin was like in the gap period, or there are certain manga that run in those gap periods. To me, those four series could potentially be the next like connector type series, where if we lose like a My Hero or if we lose a Black Clover next year or two, as they slowly stagger those big series out, those four are going to hold the magazine still strong as we transition to potentially another era or another big thing. Or they could even be the next big thing with JJK or with Sakamoto Days being massive, or an anime version of because I mean even Assassination Classroom was in like a holdover era for Jump as like Naruto was like leaving the magazine, and Bleach that they were in that holdover era. But what do you guys think?
I think those four series too are like it's interesting with those four specifically because each of them are so unique from each other.
Yes.
And they kind of like cover certain areas that the other three don't in terms of just audience. So yeah, and the thing is though, like with romance in general, like with Blue Box, I think it's already in its like 40s, 50s. The thing with romances is that we all know the end point, right? Like the two people get together,
right?
And so it's really going to be dependent on how it's handled, like how long it does go, because I see it being maybe like another year, but I hope it wraps up around 100, 110 because
you don't want it to rent a girlfriend or Comey and make it to like 300 plus chapters. Domestic Girlfriend had like 300 chapters. You don't want it to go for like 30, 40 volumes.
It doesn't need to go for like 4 or 5 years. Like it needs. I want it to like hit a natural conclusion. I don't want. I don't want Shueisha to. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't want Shueisha to pressure that story to go longer because Shueisha's done that in the past.
What other? Let's think about they have. Let's think about shonen rom-coms as of recently. They've run and jump. I think Yuna's kind of a rom-com. It's kind of in the ecchi zone also. But when I think about like We Never Learn, it wrapped up at a pretty natural like 20 volumes, right? I think it was like right around 20.
Which is like over 4-ish years.
Yes. So, We Never Learn had a pretty natural conclusion. Nisekoi maybe lasted a little longer than its prime, and I think it made it into the mid-20s, maybe even closer to 30. I can't remember off the top of my head. But maybe it lasted a little past its prime, but it still wrapped up. It wrapped up and concluded. Nisekoi found its way out as well. I think Shonen Jump has a little bit of a better track record than manga like Kodansha, who will let some of their shonen romances just go into... Rent a Girlfriend is currently writing itself into a pit right now. And Komi is even struggling, which Komi's actually Shugaku-kan over at Shonen Sunday. So it worries me, because you're right. I think that Blue Box has, like I said, a year or two from now, so when it's about 100, 150, it could easily still be going. But if it lasts for 4 or 5 more years, I think people could start getting sick of it.
Yeah, which I guess at that point it would just get canceled or it'll get its conclusion. It'll just move out of the magazine. Hopefully, but in terms of just like future Shonen Jump, I think that's what the magazine needs more of. I think it needs more romance because I think young boys like romance, and I think just
we're in a romance renaissance, David. I think we really are. I think we're in a shonen romance renaissance right now. It's a very popular genre of shonen manga right now. I think about Quintessential Quintuplets, Komi Can't Communicate, My Dress Up Darling. Which ones am I already forgetting? Whatever. We're
in a renaissance, Jerry. We're in a renaissance.
No, but you know what I mean. There's just been like back to back.
Like those have been very popular.
Top notch anime and manga that have been shonen romance. And I just consider that part of this sort of romance.
Oh, Kaguya.
Kaguya. Yep. Although Kaguya and Dress Up Darling are technically seinen, but seinen, whatever you want to call them, they ran in seinen magazines. But yeah, so it could be really good for Blue Box though. It means that it could be one of those next ones where when it does get an anime, Blue Box might be one of those ones when it gets an anime, it's going to get that treatment like Komi or a really high quality romance anime. But
and we're getting physical in the US for Blue Box.
Yeah.
So
I still have my fingers crossed that they're just waiting to give us Witch Watch physically. I think I haven't counted it out yet.
I want it so bad.
I haven't counted it out yet.
I'm like behind on Witch Watch, but I think I'm like 30 chapters in, and I'm really liking it.
Cool.
It's really funny. It's got some good romance.
Kenny, you got any closing thoughts on those 4 as like the future of this magazine? There are obviously 3 series that we missed, and I don't even really know if they're worth talking about. There are 3 series that I don't really know what to say about them. They could go.
They're gag.
2 of them are. Well, the third one's like kind of that weird like gag
Okusei Kaizoku.
Yes, it's
Me and Roboco and Mission Yozakura Family.
That's the ones, Kenny. Yes, that's the 3 that we jumped.
Those 3.
I just don't know what to say about those.
Yeah, we don't read them, so it's
they don't really. They just don't. I don't know. They don't really have a huge English speaking audience. Yozakura is getting an English physical print, even though it's been in the magazine longer than Undead Unluck and Mashal, by the way. It does not have an anime announcement, so I don't know what. It
still doesn't. I thought maybe it had an anime announcement.
So that one's also in this weird liminal space. I don't know what to say about that one either. I know very few people who read it. The people who do read it seem to like it. I don't know what to say about that one. It's a middle ground. It just holds down the middle. It's also in this weird like gag, but also shonen battle. It's like in that weird liminal space between the two. No,
Mission Yozakura Family, I think, is like a full-on battle shonen.
Oh, okay. It's just a battle shonen with like occasional humor, which is sort of like One Piece or like, I don't know. I haven't read it, so I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
It's literally the main character wants to date his friend from school, but the only way to date her because she's the daughter of this really big assassination family. is to marry her.
There's that theme again, guys. Assassins.
And so then he starts training with the family to be a good husband to her.
Right.
And then,
okay.
And then they fight other assassins and shit. Because she's like, her family is all super powered, but she's not. Because, like, that's just how it works, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
This just sounds boring.
And then you've got Roboco and you've got Kokuzei. Those are just the two gag manga. I would just call those, like, the two gag manga that have survived. I don't really know what else to call them.
Yeah, they'll just keep running forever.
Yeah, they're just gag manga that are just, they've made it, and so they're just going to chill in the magazine for a while. Roboco, to many people's dismay, got an anime announcement recently. So that happened.
I really am ruminating on that one, okay?
We're going to watch it. I'm excited for absolutely. It. We're going to watch
Arcane thoughts, or me and Roboco are just too disconnected. I just don't know.
Okay.
You know.
This week and next week, we're getting 2 new mangas in Jump. Obviously, we can't review them right now. We can briefly talk about what they are.
We have synopses at least for them, right?
I don't even know if we have like a great synopses of either of them, especially Aliens Area. Sorry, the other one you do have a synopses because it's based off of a one shot that already came out. So it's like the Dragon Girl or whatever. So they're filling the space where Shugomaru and Ayashimon are going out with Aliens Area, which is by an author who has had a couple works, but nothing massive prior to. But I think they did have a publication. I think they may have even had a short-lived Shonen Jump manga before this. So this is like their second shot at being serialized in Jump, I believe. If I'm remembering for Aliens Area correctly. It looks like it's... I don't think we have a synopsis as of yet, but it debuts like 2 days after we film this. So 3 days from now. Yeah. I am under the impression that it's going to be a shonen battle manga that involves aliens, which is very interesting because the last thing we're going to touch on after we wrap up Weekly Shonen Jump is Shonen Jump Plus, which has an also alien battle manga in it right now. But yes, so aliens in battle, I believe that's the direction it's headed. We don't know a ton about it, but be on the lookout for that. They're trying again to just put another battle manga in and hope that it sticks. I don't know. Right. I don't know if this will finally be the one. I don't know. The art looks kind of cool. I saw like one image of the art. It looks kind of cool. The other one I believe is going to be like a slice of life rom-com about a girl who's like got dragon horns, and she looks really cute, and I think people are going to dig it. The artwork looks really cute. It had a one shot that was really popular, and the one shot is now just getting serialized into the magazine. Cute girl with dragon horns that like goes to school. I'm pretty sure that's the plot. Wow. So that honestly, that could be
anime.
That might be a huge hit. That might be a huge hit.
That's what I was saying, Jerry.
I will already say
more romance. This could be it.
That also, one, this Dragon Girl slice of life romance sounds exactly like Weeb. Like I think Weebs are going to eat it up. I think Jump fans are going to eat it up. And I've already seen comments on the one shot where people are like, "Oh my fucking god, I love this so much," you know. So I'm really curious. I'm really curious about how that one lands. But I'm definitely excited to read that one as well.
Wow.
But that's it. That is Weekly Shonen Jump
through the
right
magazine?
now. Again, we've now gone through it one more time, but this time thinking more futuristically about each series as opposed to our current opinions on it. And looking at it now, the magazine is really not in a state of danger. One thing I keep hearing echoed on Twitter and on sub forums is that there's some sort of danger for this magazine. And I just don't think that that's... Maybe the physical magazine is selling less physically, like less people are actually going and picking up the magazine itself, but the series running in the magazine are selling incredibly well. The big four right now in the magazine generally appear in the top 10 or top 20 best sales charts every month, with those other 4 series also being way up there. Sakamoto, those are also starting to get... That's almost 2/3 of this magazine that has currently running shonen series in it that are selling incredibly well. The only real competition they have is Shueisha themselves, which we're going to talk about, and that's that Shonen Jump Plus is causing some of those series to be in the top selling manga right now. Eyepatch Wolf talked a little bit about in his video. He talked a little bit about how a lot of the manga that appeared in like the end of 2021 list were like dead manga. There was like 5 of them that were like in the top 10 that are dead. It was like Demon Slayer, Promised Neverland, Haikyuu, blah, blah, blah. Manga that had concluded. So he was fearful about the future because the new ones just had... But if you look at the 2022 charts, the new stuff is doing... I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and One Piece are in the top 10 best-selling manga always right now. They're never not in the top 10 best-selling manga. When 3 of your series, when such a large portion of your magazine is in that ranking, when other magazines like Kodansha are barely getting 1 up there, maybe they got Titan up there or Tokyo Revengers now, they're having 3 that dominate in sales. And you've got Black Clover. Yeah, Black Clover doesn't do as good sales-wise, but you've also got 4 upcoming that are doing really well. I just don't think Weekly Shonen Jump, unless they choose to move away from a physical published magazine, I just don't think there's any danger in there right now. People keep claiming, it's in a shit's place. There are at least 8 manga series running in Weekly Shonen Jump right now that I can tell you right now, without a shadow of a doubt, there's a lot of chapters for and are doing fine. That's 8 manga that you can go read right now that are doing fine. Big 4 plus the 4 that I consider the future. And honestly, I'm putting a lot of weight into Akane Banashi. Go read that as well. That shit's so good. And Hunter x Hunter's coming back.
And Hunter x Hunter's
And Hunter x Hunter's coming back for at least a couple chapters. I have no fear about the future of that magazine for at least a couple more years. Could things shift dramatically? Yeah. Sure. I don't think that all of these drastic cuts, I actually think these drastic cuts are helping the magazine a little bit. Someone's going to get me for that.
Is that a hot take?
I think it is to some degree, but I think that sometimes them getting rid of some of that fodder helps some of these other manga to become even more established and get a little bit more. I don't think something like Witch Watch or Sakamoto Days or Elusive Samurai would have taken off as much had some of that fodder not cleared its way for these ones to kind of rise above. And I think that's what's made them have a little bit more of a hold on the audience, because it makes people wonder, why is this one staying around? Why is this one staying? And then they go read it and they like it or they enjoy it. I think that, yes, they're cutting manga faster than usual, but Shonen Jump has always been an intense battleground for competitors. I mean, there's a manga that ran in Shonen Jump about how competitive Shonen Jump is. That's that, and that ran years ago, you know?
Yep.
So to me, it's like, it's a competitive magazine, and the magazine just doesn't feel in danger to me at all. When almost half of their series that are running in it are massively well-selling, I don't know. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on the magazine itself?
No, I think Shonen Jump is in a good spot, honestly.
Yeah. We love Shonen Jump, and I'm excited for these new series that are coming out. I was just doing some research on both of them, and they both seem pretty promising. I'm excited.
Yeah, I just don't. I just can't think of any other manga magazine or publication that has anywhere near the quality and I think people are overreacting because it's just the first era that some of these fans have lived through where they've seen the magazine lose some of its big series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for some of us that have been in this for 20 plus years, we've watched the magazine lose and gain series like this forever, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's just how it goes.
It's just a part of the cycle. And it doesn't feel like the magazine's in any more danger now than it was 10 years ago, 15. You know what I mean? It just feels like it's in a good place.
Yeah.
The one big competitor to Shonen Jump is actually Shonen Jump themselves, though. So let's talk about this just briefly. Shonen Jump does already have a digital manga platform, and probably the most prominent... Oh, you guys, am I with you guys?
Yeah.
Here.
Okay. The most prominent... I would say it's the most prominent digital publication of manga right now. Can anyone deny that? I think Shonen Jump Plus, with the Manga Plus app, I think it is the most prominent worldwide digital publication of a manga magazine right now. That's my perception of it. If someone knows of something else...
Are there other, digital manga publishers?
I don't even know. I don't even know if any of them publish it in, a magazine format like Shonen Jump does. But
I only know Jump Plus.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Jump Plus, right? There are 3 series in there that are obviously massive, massive successes already. And a fourth one moving over very quickly. 2 of them are a little above the third one, but the third one's still doing quite well. Spy Family is going to, without question, be a massive seller at the end of this year. It's going to easily be in the top 10, probably in the top 5 best-selling manga of the year, and has had an incredibly successful anime run that all of us have had the opportunity to watch. It's obviously making it harder for other weekly Shonen Jump stuff to appear in the top, but that's no problem for Shueisha, the parent company that happens to own both magazines, right?
Yeah.
So they've created their own competition by making Spy Family. The second one that has already started to peek its head into that top 10 realm right now with sales is Kaiju number 8. And I think if an anime announcement for that comes and drops and happens, There were some rumors that there's already one kind of in the works. That's going to be massive as well. We've all read a good chunk of it, right? Kenny, have you read it? Oh, wait. I'm the only one who's read Kaiju number 8.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like behind like 4 or 5 chapters, but I was reading it weekly.
So David and I are caught up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone's read it, you'll know why it's going to be big, and it's because it is truly the action shonen that Shonen Jump, Weekly Shonen Jump, maybe needs. Kaiju number 8 is flourishing over on Shonen Jump Plus, and it's because it's an older main character, which is pretty dope. Has some older themes to it, and I think that it's doing super well by being. Beside that, it's pretty much just a basic shonen. Yeah, and that's what's so lovable about it, I think. So we've got those two, and then obviously the assistant of Tatsuki Fujimoto, his first series is now slowly rising as well, and that's Dawn to Dawn. And I think people should keep their eyes on Dawn to Dawn. It's gonna last a while. It's really cool. If people haven't read it, you should go check it out. It is on the Shonen Jump. You've
been reading that weekly, have you?
I'm a couple chapters behind, but I'm mostly caught up on it, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. Great characterizations, great characters. Can you read that one or no?
Which one?
Dawn to Dawn.
No, don't read that one either.
Oh,
I'm not a Jump Plus guy, I guess.
I guess not. We need Kenny to become the Jump Plus
guy.
Dawn to Dawn. Yeah, people need to keep their eyes on that as well. I think Spy Family, Kaiju number 8, Dawn to Dawn. Those are going to all be contenders for the top 10 best-selling manga at the end of this year, which is going to make it difficult for some of those other series like Sakamoto, Witch Watch, Elusive Samurai, for them to break the top 10. I think Shueisha is beating itself out with those 3 series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Additionally, the 4th one, which is going to be there by the summer, or not by the summer, it's supposed to be by the end of the year, Chainsaw Man is going to join the Jump Plus family with its 2nd part. That's going to be crazy. And
High School Arc, baby.
We already know that Chainsaw
Man is
performing incredibly well, even though it's already completed. It's had an amazing year in 2022. It had a great 2021, but it's an amazing 2022. The anime hype for it is off the wall. It's coming later this year from MAPPA. I don't know what else to say, guys. Like, Chainsaw Man's going to be just blasphemy over on Plus. So that's 4 series that potentially could be just wildly off the wall, Jump Plus / Weekly Shonen Jump, plus the 3 already. It means that there's a potential top 10 2022 where like 7 of the top 10 is all Shueisha. Yeah. The only ones that might be able to even like put a dent up there is like Tokyo Revengers is still selling well. It seems like it might land up there. Titan
which is wild.
Titan is having an okay year still. Titan could still land in the top 10. In Kingdom, which is one that we don't talk a lot about, but Kingdom has always performed very well in Japan and could potentially land up in that top 10 as well. So that's kind of the 3 to keep that I could see maybe being in the top 10. Tokyo Revengers, Titan, Kingdom. Those are the 3 that might not be Shueisha properties in the top 10. You know what I mean? But I think other than that, I think Shueisha's got a fucking lock on that, dog. Like, I just don't see that they're going to run. And if anyone's like, oh, Jump's in danger, they're just not. I mean, just the sales are proving. I mean, yes,
they're making money.
Demon Slayer's over. Who fucking cares? Demon Slayer sold almost 100,000 volumes in 1 fucking year, guys. I mean, that was bonkers. It was unheard of. In years where One Piece was taking first place with only selling like 10. Wait, not 10. Wait, I'm using the wrong numbers. 69 million, not 69,000. Sorry. One Piece generally sells about 10 million every year. And it gets into the top, right? It used to be number 1 with like 10 million.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer dropped like 70 in 1 year.
Wild.
Shueisha is not in danger. Jump and Jump Plus are thriving in the manga community.
How much money is that? 79 million volumes of manga. I guess like 790 million. If half of that's profit. Damn, that's like
There's got to be something.
Money. That's a shit ton of money from just one series.
Well, we already know that Koyohara Gotoge got, as much as they didn't get a payout from UFO Table or like the animation side.
Oh, they made
the amount of money they made from just manga sales. It's blast off their net worth, which has been like, holy moly, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they're rich.
Yeah, Gotoge is rich.
Yeah, they're rich.
And
they're rich.
Almost certainly Akutami is also very, very wealthy now. Suddenly wealthy.
Akutami's
he's like mine and David's age, and he's like definitely a multimillionaire now.
He's a multimillionaire.
He literally was probably like struggling in Jump, and now he's multimillionaire, no question about it.
Yeah, we're trying to ride that same train up. So listen to our new manga that we're producing called Gugutsu Kaisen. It's about a baby Yuji Itadori. He goes goo goo.
But yes, guys, so that's the main thing about Shonen Jump Plus, and I think Shonen Jump Plus is only going to keep gaining prominence. There even was a short form manga that performed really well in Japan. We haven't gotten it in English yet, but I'm very curious about it.
Is that another one?
Yeah, Tekopi's Original Sin is the one that I'm thinking of here. It was like 3 volumes. Kenny and I saw it at Kinokuniya, actually, the Japanese print of it. And it performed super well sales-wise in Japan, but it was a short form, like dark story, but it did super well. So if Jump Plus is already the place for that, and you got to remember, Fire Punch ran on Jump Plus, Astra Lost in Space ran on Jump Plus.
Yep.
Is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible a Jump Plus property too?
I actually don't know.
Very possible. Jigoku Raku was a Jump Plus.
Oh, Hell's Paradise was Jump Plus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jump Plus has already got hits. It's got hits on the way. Shueisha's got this shit on lock, dog. Like, there's just... Shonen's the biggest market in manga. Did you just break your phone?
It's just really sad right now.
Damn.
Some of the pieces fell out.
Man, if only you had a case.
Yeah.
Man, wow, that's crazy.
Okay. So, I don't know. Any other thoughts on Jump Plus, boys? What do you guys think? Anything about that?
Jump Plus is a cool,
I mean, it's doing the damn thing. It's successful.
Doing the damn thing.
So I'm really excited for that part 2 Chainsaw Man. It's like the only thing I really care about is Chainsaw Man part 2.
That's like
I gotta see that high schooler. I gotta see my boy Denji in class working on his calculus. Okay.
Just
going home,
running
taking care of the control devil. I'm hyped.
Jerry, where does World Trigger run?
It's over in Monthly Jump right now, which is another. Just in case you guys are wondering, Monthly Jump has things like Baruto, Dragon Ball Super, World Trigger, D-Gray Man. That's where a lot of Twin Star Exorcists. That's got Monthly Jump over there, which is another. I mean, now that we're saying those, someone's probably like, "Oh shit, Baruto," and that's where Baruto and Super are both at. Which is like those are doing just fine as well, guys. Surprise, surprise.
Guess what? Shueisha is just still collecting money.
They're just still doing. They're doing the damn thing. They are writing the manga.
They are doing the damn thing.
Shueisha is killing it. You have to remember, also, for those of you that don't know, Shueisha, Viz Media here in the U.S. is owned by Shueisha. It's not a separate imprint. Viz is owned by Shueisha. Shogakukan has another portion of that as well. That's like their combined front. So that's why Viz Media in the U.S. has pretty much. They have first deal contracts on all Shueisha and all Shogakukan properties. And if you looked at any of Viz Media's reports, they had massive profit rises in the last 2 years on their front. The most Shueisha is dominating right now in the manga world, and they're dominating in the anime world. I mean, just to be frank, Dragon Ball movies, Demon Slayer movies, Jujutsu Kaisen movies, that's all fucking Shueisha, guys. This is all Shueisha.
Demon Slayer? Please,
check your... Kaguya-sama? Guess what?
It's all them, okay?
No, I think...
They're the Disney. They're the Disney of manga.
They are.
Man,
right
they
now.
are.
They're the Disney of manga, honestly, and everybody just needs to look
Kodansha
out, okay?
Kodansha is the only company that is currently even trying to put a dent with things like Seven Deadly Sins and Attack on Titan, Fire Force. That's all Kodansha. They obviously have a nice presence, and they're not going anywhere, I don't think. But it's really
they're trying real hard with
obviously,
Attack on Titan too.
Shogakukan also has an okay handle as well. They're the ones that actually publish Komi Can't Communicate and Call of the Night, and I can't think of other. I think
is it Weekly Sunday stuff?
Yeah, it's all Shonen Sunday stuff. I think all the Rumiko Takahashi's work are all Shogakukan. But beside the point, Shogakukan and Shueisha have a very good relationship. And so I think those two companies are very support. Kingdom, I think, is actually Shogakukan, if I'm remembering correctly. So they have a really strong combo team effort. Are they still in competition with each other? Yes, I think to a degree. But I think as long as Kodansha is really the only other one doing much anything, to be honest. Yes, there's lots of other publishers that are putting out other manga, but when you really think about it, Kodansha and Shueisha and Shogakukan are the three big guys over there. But Whew, so that's the future. That's all I got.
That's future.
Woo, we did it, guys.
That's Shonen Jump, guys.
That's it.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's Uncensored Anime Podcast. Remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Talk to us down there below, okay? We want to hear your thoughts about Shonen Jump. And really, we want to hear your thoughts in person. Come see us at Anime Lubbock. I know we are going to be there.
This is probably going to premiere like 12 hours before we're there, yeah.
We're actually there right now at Anime Lubbock, even though this is a week before right now, me physically. But that's where we're going to be. So come see us at Anime Lubbock, guys. Jerry, is there anything else we need to tell the folks at home?
Kitty, you nailed it. Thanks so much for wrapping up. The only thing I want to say is this is a very discussion-heavy episode, but we really want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. What is the future of Weekly Shonen Jump? Is Shueisha in a rough spot? Do you think this is a lower drought for the magazine than any other drought before? Is this not the gap period we're expecting? I really want to hear some people's thoughts about the future of Shonen Jump. So we're not talking about the current state now. I want to talk about the future of Shonen Jump, and that's really what this episode was about. And I really want to hear some commenters down below to get into it. Obviously, we'll try to engage you guys in the comments as well. We usually try to get in to the comments. So if you guys have any great discussion points about this, I'd love to hear some thoughts about what direction you think the idea of like the weekly shonen magazine is headed, or if there is anything. I mean, will Weekly Shonen Jump ever be a fully digital publication? Could you guys see that? That's something that I want to ask our audience. I've heard it brought up.
I think there's something magical about the physical.
What if the physical magazine completely disappears and all those series are just become Shonen Jump Plus properties, and they print them still as individual tankobon, volume issues, just like they're doing right now, but everything is just published weekly digitally, which is in the US that's already what we have, to be honest. To be frank, that is what we get.
Because like Marvel DC is just strictly
no,
comics.
Comics. I'm talking about the US. Sorry,
let's reel back a little.
I'm talking about the US's weekly Shonen Jump publication. We got rid of our print magazine many years ago, and we still get the chapters every week. We get them simul-published with Japan, but we only get them digitally in the US. You know what I mean? So there is no physical way to collect the magazine. We just get digital chapters and then physical volumes months later. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what's already been here for. What is it? Already almost like 10 years or something that it's been that way. But yeah, so I'm curious. What do you guys think? Will Japan? I heard someone say less than 5 years. They're going to consolidate all their weekly Shonen Jump titles, throw them all into Jump Plus, and they'll go full digital. And that maybe the Jump Plus is literally them like testing the waters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Testing the waters on how popular. And honestly, it's working. The one thing
they're all.
The one
popular.
thing we have learned is that things that have been published digital first, digital only, and then get volume publications later, people are still going out and buying the physical volumes in mass if they do well. So that's bonkers to me, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Are we 5 years away from a fully digital Shonen Jump future? I don't know. I want to hear from some commenters, though. On that note, Kenny already told you guys what's up, so make sure you do everything that Kenny told you to do. And this has been another episode of the Uncensored Anime Podcast. And guys, we're saying peace.